Welcome to the Be That Healing Girl podcast. And today on this episode, we're going to talk about why you get more anxious the more you focus on your relationship. So, if you've ever thought to yourself, I'm going to be the best partner ever, I'm going to do all the things, I'm going to do them perfect, how could they not fall in love with me? And I'm going to give them all my attention and focus. Y'all, this is why you cannot relax and you are eating yourself alive with anxiety, and you're probably feeling like a hot mess. And a lot of times what is happening with this is when we look at logic alone, okay, logic, and I know so many of you are smart, you are intellectualizers, you know a lot about yourselves. Logic alone does not equate to feeling safe in your relationship. Using logic is not the same as being able to self-soothe yourself, all right? P.S. If it worked, you wouldn't be listening, all right? And it's something that we're going to dive into today. And the way I see these episodes, the podcast, this is just a tip of the iceberg of what we dive into inside the Healing Girl Gang. Because while I am giving you a peek inside the community, it's really the process, the step by step. So, really excited to talk about why you're getting anxious. And if you're new here, my name is Claire. I love helping high achieving, high performing people you are doing your thing in the corporate land. You are corner officing, you're jet setting, you've got the $15 million, blah, 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 blah. Or maybe you are a intellectual as far as an academic, right? You have some letters behind your name, PhD, NP, or etc. Or maybe you are an entrepreneur, maybe you're in finance, or maybe you have some real estate. And it doesn't really matter how much you are crushing it out in your career, you are being crushed and sucked dry of all your energy because you're so anxious inside your relationship. You are overthinking, you spiral the moment you don't see those three bubbles texting back. You're just feeling the weight of anxiety and second guessing, and you're not having fun. So, really excited to dive in today. And if you are enjoying this episode, if it's landing for you, thank you ahead of time for hitting the 5 stars. Y'all, I watch these numbers. Thank you for doing that. It is your way of letting me know that you're enjoying the podcast, and it means so, so much. In fact, there was a cutie in my DMs and she was like, I don't even know. How do you read my mind in the podcast? And one thing I will just say, and I'll share a little bit more about me, but I have done everything an anxiously attached person can do. And I've heard some really interesting stories, and I don't want to brag, but I bet I could beat you. I bet I could beat you with the anxiety. So I know probably what's in your mind because I have done it inside, outside, up, back, front, side to side, inside out. I have literally walked the entire path multiple times. And it's also just something that I know and understand really well, and it's why I teach it. So a little update is I am deep right now at the time this episode drops into my hysterectomy recovery. Thank you for sending me love, and I can feel it. And it was so interesting because I had just went to a movie by myself. What? A little lore about me is I love movies. I love movies. I love the experience. I go to the Alamo Draft House, not sponsored yet. But I love the Alamo. I love their popcorn. I love the butter on the popcorn. I love eating and somebody bringing my food. But just in general, I love movies. I think it's also because my family really loved, academics was our job. If you know, you know. And I just felt like it was so indulgent. And we did go see movies, but it just was such a special time where I could just relax and not have to worry about school. And I went to this movie by myself, and it wasn't even a question. Like the way it panned out, it's Hamnet, which if you please read the book, I think the movie is an excellent adaptation to the book. It did an incredible job. And one thing that I was just thinking about as I was choosing to go to this movie was that it didn't even really occur to me to ask Craig to go. Here's why. First of all, he would be dying of boredom, dying of boredom. Okay. He can barely, I think we watched The Crown, which I love that. I loved that. The whole UK experience. He cannot. Any kind of time period piece, he's like not about it. And I love that kind of stuff. And I just knew, number one, he would not enjoy himself. And I certainly don't want to explain to him what's going on or give him I didn't want to do any of that. Give him the cliff notes. No, thank you. So I went, and it was so funny because I didn't even think twice about it. And I will tell you, that is not how I would have operated in the past. And I would have been like, oh my gosh, like who can go with me? I'll go with anybody. And I guess I just won't go. And this is such an example of why capacity matters. I didn't give two flying fucks about going to the movie by myself. In fact, I was like, now I can have the dill pickle popcorn that he hates dill pickle, and not doesn't hate it, but like does not want to get the chips that are dill pickle flavored. And so I was just really holding space for myself and admiring, oh yeah, like no big deal. I'm going to go to this movie by myself. And it was frankly so lovely. I want to go again by myself. So just want to share that little update. And just FYI, if you haven't seen it, it's so good. Be prepared to cry. But okay, so let's dive into why you get more anxious the more you focus on the relationship. So I kind of started off with this, but I really used to tell myself, and I'm curious if you are in the process of telling yourself, well, in order to be a good partner, in order to be really the person that they love and to have a good relationship, all my focus needs to be on them. Right? I got to focus on their career, or what are we doing this weekend, or have they texted me back yet? Like there's just like so many ways and so many layers when I say the word focus, how that can show up in your relationship. Now, I'm going to make a connection here, and I'm going to say it slow because it's actually a big deal. But focus in your relationship, overly focusing, creates fragility. Focus creates fragility, okay? And here's what I mean by that. So you are pouring into them, right? You are pouring all your time, all your energy, all of it into them. What ends up happening is that this kind of becomes like a zero-sum game, right? And I know a lot of you probably tend to think with black and white thinking, all or nothing thinking, absolute thinking. And so if that is an unconscious feeling or a way that we think, it's going to show up in a relationship, right? Either I got the promotion or I am trash. Either I am their number one, we're getting married tomorrow and I just met them, or it's nothing, okay? And so when we pour everything into them, it leaves us with, if we think black or white, all or nothing, we pour everything into them, how much is left for you? Okay. How much is left for you? Be honest. Are you going to the gym? Are you doing the things you like? Are you seeing your friends? Are you I mean, like, are you watering your own garden? Okay. And one analogy that I like to think about is we tend to burn our own lifeboat because we are so overly focused on steering the main ship, which is our relationship. Right? And what it actually does, it creates a loop of anxiety, right? So we're hyper focused, we're overly focusing on the relationship, and something minor happens. Okay, maybe you get even to like a little disagreement or something, you're just not seeing eye to eye. That tends to turn on your inner alarm, right? So these unconscious, unaware, or subconscious thoughts and feelings get activated. Your inner alarm turns way on. And then you maybe react. You have some kind of chase, or you got to control, right? Then that, because you're doing that, your partner might feel suffocated, right? Because you're chasing them. You're trying to control the situation. They might even feel pressure, right? And that's understandable. And then guess what? Your fear gets validated. You're like, see this, if I wasn't watching this, I messed up. I did something wrong, blah, da, 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 da. And then right around right around the loop we go back to the minor thing, and then ultimately you are creating fragility within yourself. So you feel fragile. You feel any little thing is going to set you off. Any little thing is going to trigger the anxiety. Any little thing could break the relationship. And guess what? The relationship turns fragile, right? Because in that loop, your partner is feeling a lot of pressure, right? Because you are literally magnifying glassing onto them and what's happening. And they feel that pressure. They feel suffocated. And yeah, it's like of mice and men. You just don't want to smash the little bunny. Was it bunnies? Yeah. And so I was thinking about this because I love yoga and I've played with going to some classes recently. P.S. If you're in Denver, where are the cool girlies practicing yoga in downtown, like North Denver area? Like what? Not past downtown. Like I'm actually like I would say a northern girl now. So send me a DM. But I was thinking about my yoga practice and how before when I first started yoga, there was a lot of talk around go to your edge, do dancer on the edge, go to your edge, push. And so what happened for me, and P.S., when I hear those kind of cues, I used to in the past be so extreme. And also a lot of my practice and the way I would think about things was very destination oriented. Okay, the end goal here is to do the deepest lunge, the straightest leg, and I'll just use the Hanumanasana, which is the splits as an example. Okay, and so because I was so focused on the destination, I was so focused on the peak of the pose, the fullest expression. Guess who has 2 thumbs and has torn both her hamstrings multiple times? This girl right here. Okay. If you're listening and not watching this, I have hurt both my hamstrings by overly focusing on a destination. Okay. And P.S. relationships, hello, marriage, like we focus on that. Or I mean, maybe you're not thinking about that yet, but I got to get to this destination of we have to be official. We have to be that happens in dating. We got to be official. When are we going to move in? Like all of this pressure on your partner and on yourself creates really instability in the relationship. And so the reality is the more you focus, the more likely it is that you fracture and you actually create more fragility. You feel fragile. The relationship feels fragile. It's feeling on edge. And I just want to say this too. This is not about doing a total 180 and saying, well, I'm just not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on me, right? I'm going to focus all about what's going on over here. And so again, that's like we're going from one end of the spectrum to another, and we really want to be able to navigate the messy middle. And it's not about focus. Focus is a great tool and a great skill when it's applied well, when it's applied with love and gentleness. And it's not so much about focus, it's also about how you focus. I would argue that's the thing, how you focus and where you focus, okay? And something that I know that we teach in the Healing Girl Gang, this is the place where you can learn actually how to retrain your focus, all right? And one thing around if you don't change is it's not because the focus is bad, right? This is not saying that, okay, it's either one or the other. I focus all my attention or I'm super hyper independent. If you know, right? There is a middle ground, and it's learning to navigate that middle. Again, where do you go to navigate the middle, the messy middle? How do you navigate the messy middle? And so, and another thing that I'm just thinking about too is it's not just I got to focus on me. It's about me, because this is not like you just get to go to a spa day. I'm not saying spas are bad. It's like, okay, that's not what I'm talking about, right? And when we kind of go into these spectrums where we're hyper focusing on them, then we're like, I don't need no man. Then what really ends up happening is we tend to suppress ourselves. We tend to just push down those feelings and emotions. We try to ignore how fragile we feel or how fragile the relationship feels. And really, when we're doing that suppression, we're not helping anybody. We're certainly not helping ourselves. And one thing I'm really proud of in the Healing Girl Gang, it's literally not about suppression. It's about healthy expression, learning how to express yourself in a healthy, loving way. So I was also thinking about this topic that came up in the Healing Girl Gang. And one thing that I love about the Healing Girl Gang is not just that we get to do some coaching and all those fun things, but it's just fun to see the things that come up. And this is kind of related, and I'll tie it together for you guys around focus, but it came up in the Healing Girl Gang. And I also had this experience where I was getting blood drawn for my surgery. And this woman was like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, I help anxious women. She's like, "Oh my gosh." And I'm like, "I know." So she was talking about how she hasn't had an anxiety attack in a couple months. And as she was literally talking to me, I could see her kind of like wanting to check her phone. Like she was getting my blood, and we had a moment where she was like waiting. And I was like, "Well, lovingly, like, how's your relationship with your phone?" And she was like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't say this to her, but I could tell her focus was a little distracted, just kind of getting me settled." And I was like, "Well, yeah, if you have a interesting relationship or complicated relationship with your phone, you have a hard time putting it down, then you're that kind of way that the phone works." I mean, there's billion-dollar companies, billions of dollars, that literally try to get your attention. They try to break your focus. And I cannot wait to see more of the data around how, well, we already know that our phones are making us dumb more, they're not helping. And how when we can't pay attention, our attention spans, our focus is really disrupted and dysregulated, how that affects everything, right? So yeah, you can look at your relationship with dopamine and your relationship with your phone, and look at maybe in your relationship, are you constantly looking for a jolt? Are you looking for danger? Are you looking for something to happen? And if that's true, look at your relationship with your phone. How is your relationship with your phone? So that topic came up in the gang. I thought it was really interesting. And I just want to complete this with saying nothing is wrong, right? Nothing is wrong. You probably just need structure. You probably need to understand where to focus and how to focus. And one step that I would say is start to become aware of where you're tending to focus and how much focus you're putting on the relationship, aka pressure. And if you want to rewire and not just recognize when you're being anxious and when you're overly focusing, then Healing Girl Gang is the place for you. All right, angels, I'm sending you lots of love.